The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes! Here we go! Friday night, the Bhoycie bus revs back up. It's the Friday night show. It's what we do. We don't back down. We double down. Let the pretenders go on earlier on. That's all good with me. There's only one quiz on a Friday night, baby, and that is on the Bhoycie bus. Word has it, we've got another guest, another first-time podcaster. What a load of shite that is. What we've got is a real Celtic fan, a season ticket holder. His name is Connan Clark. How are you doing, young man?
Hey. Nice to see you again. I'm good. Hey. How are you?
I'm jamming, mate. It's good to have you on. You know, I was saying to you off here, once that music kicks in, mate, I don't care who you are. When you're sitting there ready to come on the show, you know magic is going to happen. And that is what we do on the bus. We make memories. We do have a wee bit of sprinkling of magic. Do you know why? Because we have a laugh. It's down to earth. It's real. I am seeing a hell of a lot right now of manufactured realness out there in the old pod sphere. I don't mean just Celtic ones. I just mean all out there. Everyone's trying to act casual, you know, and hey, Connan, great to have you for a beer, mate. All manufactured pish. I'm here because we are real. And that will always be the USP, if you like, you know, of the bus. Look at the comments flying in. We've got some big names watching. And do you know what? No wonder. What a week it has been for Celtic. We are going to get stuck right into all that. I'm trying to bring up as many comments as I can as well. Come on, the boys. Get the patter started, says Charles. And I know. I love it. This is what it's all about. Joseph already knows it's going to be a great show. I agree, mate. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, better not do that. We'll get fall off. Right, so, I know, but do you know what? You'll gain more notoriety if you were to get banned. And by the way, people have tried to get Bhoycie in a bit of trouble on the old Twitter recently. I had a couple of notifications recently. People, I just say Bhoycie's picking on everyone. He's just a big besmirching bastard, apparently. Besmirching. Why does everyone talk like they're in court these days? Honestly, besmirching concerted efforts. I am only here to have a laugh. I am no bully. I am here to have fun. And if vanilla ice cream or plain crisps offend certain people and they want to get the bus banned, they can keep trying because I breach no rules. That's the thing. It's called banter. And the banter police can bolt. Put it that way. Now, we also have to say a big, massive thank you, not just to our sponsors, fanboyfootball.com, but more importantly, to the bus passengers who have, in their waves, decided the merchandise is for them. The t-shirts, Conan, are flying off the shelf. Fanboyfootball.com was in a bit of a meltdown the other day. Such was the impact of the amount of people wanting sales that they weren't expecting. It was all a bit unpredicted. I've got to say, I just love it. I just love it. I think it's just quality that folk, I mean, I know I'm not wearing it tonight, but, you know, I'm going to do, the first time I wear it, I've got a photo idea for how I'm going to wear it, so I'm going to save that. But I'm absolutely buzzing, and thank you, genuinely thank you, to everyone who's bought a t-shirt. I mean, if anyone knows it, I mean, I'm not doing this for money. Oh, shit. If anyone thinks I'm trying, you know, to be, you know, making coin in that, you know, a few years though that have DM'd me, I make buttons off this. I've waived the whole postage thing personally. Every single sale of that t-shirt is minus £5 postage. That is because I am covering that. Not because of Mother Teresa, not because of any of this, oh my God, how sound are you? I don't mean it like that. I just want to keep in the right ethics of the bus. And for me, the bus is all about, as you know, if you want a t-shirt, whatever, then let's do it fairly and let's try and make it as affordable as possible. I'm just editing a couple of settings on the video as well because we can't have non-subscribers commenting and any more drama on a Friday night, Conan. I mean, imagine that, mate. You wouldn't like, you know, people being so famous to have, you know, imposters kidding on to be them coming onto the show. We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want that. No. So that's me just sort of solving them now that we've went live. Michael Garrity is on the bus finally. Well, Michael, a big hello to you, mate. It is good to see you. Daniel Mick is doing 2 of his t-shirts for a tenner in the bars. Daniel, can I get 2 off you? Because that's far cheaper than what we're doing them for. Liam Collo has finally ordered his 6XL top. Conan, are you going to be buying a Bhoycie Bus t-shirt, mate?
Oh, you know it, man. You know it.
Yeah, can't wait. You know it. Because you knew the style I was going for.
You showed me some of them early on.
I was a pretty green man.
I was there.
You did, mate, and I'm a pretty green man. I wanted, you know, the badge to be, and that's the circular badge, like Liam Gallagher started with. Folk can call me sad for that, but I love it. Terry Robb hopes this fits him. Terry, the jersey doesn't shrink, but I know your stature, mate. I've had you on the busiest Bhoycie bus of all time on Sunday, and Terry's contribution, can I just say, incredible. What a legend. And Scott Cameron's coming in. How proud is he to be the first customer? Mate, I just can't even, I can't get my head around it. Kerry's bought a t-shirt as well, and he would gladly donate to a charity of your choice. We will be doing charity work over the course of 2022, Kenny. Keep your pennies for that, because I won't fuck about with stuff like that. And it certainly will be original, new. Stephen Coulter is going to buy a t-shirt. Bazaboy wants to know where he can get the t-shirts. I know I hate doing this because I don't want to be over self-indulgent, man. I think Celtic really are at the forefront of all our minds this week, you know. And I trust me, none more so than mine. But since you ask, I'll put a wee link in the comments because I suppose
I'll need it for myself, mate.
Right, I'll put a wee link in the comments there. There it is. And fanboyfootball.com. What a company to be working with. I know Paul McFarlane's in there, big fan of the show. He's been raving about the quality of the material. What I will say is we had a couple of samples, and again, I'm not trying to be off. Okay, that's amazing, boys. I chose the most expensive material for the least profits because I felt that was the right thing to do. So there's no postage because I paid for that. and the best possible material we can offer, we have done it. And Kaylee Galt loves her What, Kaylee, what do you mean? You've not got your t-shirt yet. Don't blame me. Blame the postie. She messaged me earlier today going, you're loving this, you bastard. Chris joins in. The bus has over 2,000 subscribers. It's unreal. It is unreal. That's the thing. It is unreal. But it's real. And it's happening right in front of you. In 4 months, the underdog is just cruising in with 2,000 passengers. We had 6,000 watching. What is that in a percentage? 300% of your subscriptions are viewers for your big shows. You try and find that ratio elsewhere, baby boy. I'm telling you, we are flying. Danielle thinks it's a Fruit of the Loom number. Remember Fruit of the Loom? You don't even know what that is, Conan, do you?
No, nah.
Fruit of the Loom used to make like school jumpers and that. And
no, I didn't know that. I've seen the tags on the back of the jumper.
Fruit of the Loom, mate. But no, it's not Fruit of the Loom, I can assure you. You could do... Eugene wants us to do car stickers. Why not? Kenny wants us to give a thumbs up to the boss. And if you are joining, hit like, hit subscribe. But I'm bored of all this promotion stuff because it's really, really not my thing, if I'm honest. It's like, I find it uncomfortable. But I love the fact we need to grow it as well. And by the way, I might have huge news on a live show this summer, which is going to be where Singer Folk Know. And we might go live this summer. In fact, we will go live this summer. There will be a Bhoycie Bus live show in Glasgow this summer with a guy who knows his Celtic songs. So it is going to rock and roll. Just, so much to look forward to. Now we need to talk about the week that's been, Conan, because I know I've rambled on there for 10 minutes. But the week that's been has been utterly massive. Now, we've now got the benefit of hindsight. It's not just the wave of electricity you get that we win at Ibrox for the first time in I don't know how many games. The fact we go 6 points clear, include the goal difference, you could call it 7. It's more than that. It's where we were to how we've managed to somehow get to where we are now. Sounds a bit like Columbia by Oasis. There we were. Now here we are. All this confusion. What's it got to do with me? Conan, this has been a journey we could never have forecasted, but now we're part of it. Take it away on how incredible the journey's been so far.
It's great. The absolute shit show we had last season, you just thought, right, this is a rebuild. We don't even know. A lot of us wouldn't have known who Ange Postecoglou was when he first came into the job. At first I was like, who is this guy? And then you're thinking, right, we've got to back him. He's a manager now, so we'll see where it goes. And then you start the season off, you lose your first 3 away games. You're thinking, fucking hell, this is going to be another shit show of a season. Like, we've not got to the best start here. And then, before you know it, start getting a few results, start picking up form. You see how he wants us to play. And players just built it. Like, they wanted to play the way he did. Like, everyone bought into the system. And
yes,
you've never looked back essentially. Like, just winning a League Cup first season, that built so much momentum, in my opinion. Just moving on after Christmas, and then it's just been brilliant ever since then. Never looked back.
I think it's frightening. I just think, I was on obviously a busier podcast than this, and we enjoy taking the piss at them, and they can all cry themselves to sleep if they think it's worth talking like lawyers about it. You know what I mean? They're a bunch of boring bastards. But when I was on it, whilst trying to stimulate some sort of conversation, I basically said I had a lot of doubts about Ange Postecoglou. Numero uno, I felt the biasness from Australian and Japanese media was always going to be just that. The same way, I think if Steve Clark, for example, was to go to a job in one of the top 5 leagues now, on the back of, say, Scotland qualifying for the World Cup, right? Same way Ange did with Australia. Steve Clark achieves that, even if they get beat 3 games out the group stage, like Ange Postecoglou did. I think if Steve Clark was to go to, let's say, an Ajax, right? Something ridiculous like that. Scottish papers would be, and all the journalists would be queuing up to tell the Dutch media how much of a genius they've got in charge. Whereas back in Scotland, they might be going, don't know. I think he's done all right. But like for the Euros, for example, he could have done better. But the narrative would always be, you back your own. And I always felt it was time. I mean, that Dan Orlowicz guy, I love slagging him off because he was just so full of shit. It was unbelievable. Talked about as this, Japanese expert and all this shit. He wasn't. He comes on. He says, Ange would prefer to draw 4-4 and win 1-0. I said, well, that won't work. It doesn't work. So I then took a deeper look at Ange's managerial record. And do you know what? I was fucking not as elated as maybe somewhere. Trophy-laden career was the common term getting bandied about. I didn't quite think that added up with how many years he'd been a manager. I also took a deep look at his record at Australia under-21s, under-20s. He failed to qualify for the World Cup twice. So I was making an argument, right, to say, and in fact, the clincher was, at what point has this board ever just came up with a genius appointment at the last minute? That all their eggs are in one basket. This is a panic thing. So that was my mindset on it. I take a big step back and reflect on that, Connan, and I'm delighted that any doubts I had, as much as I still feel what I was saying, I don't mind folk being wrong in life, right? See, as long as you can back it up to a point and you can make a constructive argument, which is what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to create headlines or anything. You're genuinely trying to talk with a wee bit of backbone to it, a wee bit of meat in the bones as to why this could not work. We had no reason to trust that board on the appointment they made if it wasn't Eddie Howe. We had no reason to trust them, right? Now, I was actually in the camp of give him a chance, but his record doesn't stack up as well as it is getting portrayed. That was my opinion. I'm delighted now, Connan, to say that Ange Postecoglou came in and done exactly what, not Dan Orlowicz, but what the Australian press said he would. Now, it's not actually second season syndrome. He's done it in the first year, but he's buy-in and how he gets people on his camp, on his side. I've never seen anyone with that ability. I include Brendan Rodgers in that. Now, Brendan Rodgers came with a reputation that was so high. Mm-hmm. The stock was so high. 13,000 Celtic fans descended on Celtic Park. They had to open the main stand just for his unveiling. Ange could never achieve that sort of thing. But I tell you what now, he has more than that 13,000 now dancing to his every tune.
Exactly. You hang on to every word the man says.
His stock is crazy high. Could you ever have seen this turnaround happen so quickly?
No, definitely not. Like I said before, just at the start of the season, he thought we'll rebuild, we'll try and get a few players and whatnot, and then we'll see where we go from there. Hopefully, try and build something, and then focus on the season after. But he's just gone on and done so well. Like imagine we brought Eddie Howe in, like the kind of butterfly effect. We bring Eddie Howe in, we don't get Kyogo, Maeda, Hatate, Ideguchi, all these players, even like O'Reilly and stuff. They're all Ange signings, and look how well they've done. Like they've hit the ground running straight away. And if Eddie Howe came in, he brings all his backroom staff, this, that, and the next thing. Was it a director of football he was allowed to bring in? You said the other day. Eddie
Howe was actually given more than that. He was given carte blanche, basically, Connan, right? So Eddie Howe, I think, don't actually think I'm exaggerating here, it was 15 staff members plus.
It's just a bit ridiculous, whereas Ange dropped everything they had in Australia or in Japan, whatever, came over with no backroom staff, whatever, and just said, right, we're going to do things my way. I'm going to persuade people, and I'm going to show you my way of football works, my way of playing football works. And you're either on board or you're gone, basically. And everyone's bought into it, and that's why I think we succeeded. Like, he praises his backroom staff more than anyone as well. It's not just him. He's not just saying, look, I'm great, it's all me. He's like, it's everyone, it's the fans, players, backroom staff, absolutely everyone in the club. So,
well, Connan, can I just come in quickly there? I think that's a brilliant point because I know exactly where you're coming from. You're reflecting on the fact these Manager of the Month photos are always with a different group of staff. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and
Am I
just he always
freezing?
talks to
Am
them
I
as well.
freezing, by the way? Is my
Yeah, a little
is
bit,
my
but not
stream all
much.
right? As long as I'm all right. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Sound. Right.
Can you hear me okay?
So oh no, you're jamming. So I think what Postecoglou's also done though, very clever. 3 manager of the months in a season, by the way, not often matched, and he's actually done it by every time he wins the award, making sure it's different members of staff that are getting the photo with him. That shows you how down to earth he is. He very much came in on his own. Now, I've entertained this concept of a thought process with Ange a few times, right? Jesus, that sounded like a fanny there. I just mean, I think, in a nutshell, Postecoglou quite liked the idea, Connan, of being a one-man band. I don't think he needed nor wanted other chefs spoiling the broth. I'm going to ask you a quick question here. This is a part of the Double Doon quiz. Who's Ange Postecoglou's assistant manager?
What, his assistant just now? It's like... This was never said, but I'd say John Kennedy.
He doesn't really have one though, does he?
Nah,
I've
exactly.
never known anything like it. He has completely went, there's no number 2, mate. No one knows who's his number 2. No one does. Because he suits being the sole trader that he is. He likes the fact there's no, who was it, Fergal Sharkey? That's who he's getting called, Fergal Sharkey. You remember the guy from Man City was going to come in and be the chief exec or the director of football? Fergal Harkin or something he was called.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact name, but I know what you're on about.
But I'm just showing, just give me control. I know what I'm talking about. I think it suited him. He identified the players. He brought in the players. All the training regimes, effectively, as much as Kennedy, Shakin are doing a good job for him, they are the equivalent, though, of just laying out the cones and repeating what his message is. It suits Ange Postecoglou to have no one with him. But from the outside looking in at the beginning, you're thinking, this is a disaster. This is Neil Lennon Mark II. But Neil Lennon actually understood Celtic. He doesn't, not in a bad way, but he's never been in this position before. It's worked unbelievably well. I'm
100%.
delighted with how well he's done. But I think we have to reflect now on the week. Now, Sunday was obviously a huge win. Massive in so many ways. But we beat them in a completely different manner than what we beat them the last time, didn't we?
100%. Like, by no means did we play near to our best, in my opinion. I thought it was quite a scrappy game. But it's more of a kick in the balls for them, really thinking that Celtic, that was our chance really to beat Celtic, not their best. We go a goal up and then they crumble essentially. Like, I thought after that first goal in, I was thinking this could go anywhere. Like, crowds behind them, 1-0 up within the first 2 or 3 minutes. You're thinking anything could happen. And then luckily we keep our heads. Callum McGregor kind of just drags us through. He beats 2 or 3 players, whatever gets into the box, and then Rogic gets his goal. And that comes in there. It's like everyone, like in the pub at the time, everyone's thinking, "Oh fucking hell, what's going to happen here?" And then
that's good part for Donny, because Donny knows his music, so he's come in saying he's a one-man band. Nobody knows or understands. It's the wee guy, Leo Sayer. That's who that is. Leo Sayer. That's way before your time, Connan. Don't worry, you're not expected to know that song.
That's over my head, right?
But I think the point rings true. He is a one-man band. And I think no one does know or understand how he's doing what he's doing right now, single-handedly. Connan, have Celtic peaked too early under Ange Postecoglou? Or, if we are to believe what everyone says, and I actually subscribe to this viewpoint, second season he gets teams better.
I'd hate to think that this is where it peaked, because I think this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of something special. Like, surely, and he said
if we win the treble this year, though, if we win the treble this year, that was, I know folk come down the treble because we've won 4 out the last 5, right? Mm-hmm. See, before that, it was Martin O'Neill, and before that was Jock Stein.
Exactly.
Right? This is not, it's just been dumbed down because Celtic have been so dominant. And, you know, I think if a manager comes in first season, wins the treble, you would be forgiven, Connan. for saying, do you know what? That he's peaked almost too early. Where does he go for there? I think Ange has his eyes on bigger prizes. What do you make of that?
Oh, he said himself, like the likes of Jockstein, Mark O'Neill, he said on the Open Goal podcast, he's like, those guys left their marks not only domestically but in Europe. And he's like, that's kind of chip on his shoulder. He wants to do that as well because I think he just wants to accomplish as much as possible at Celtic as you would. The guy trusts himself, and he's a winner, kind of natural born winner in my opinion. He knows what it takes, and he gets people on board as well. People trust him. It's like, I feel like he's the type of guy, he comes in the room, everyone stops, and you just listen, and you hang on to every single word he says. But next season, you win the treble this season, it's going to be hard, isn't it, to top that? And his first season after, everyone thought we'll be lucky to win anything, really. We'll be lucky to win the League Cup. Done that. Got ourselves in a great position in the Scottish Cup in a semi-final yet again. And then we're 6 points, well, essentially 7 points clear, as you said, at the top of the league. So it doesn't get too much better as long as we keep our head in the league, which I can't see us dropping 6 points essentially, or 7 as you said. And then we play in the semi-final, which is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. Sadly, couldn't get a ticket, but yeah, big games coming up still. But we'll see next season he can get more players in. People understand the system even better. He just wants to improve day in, day out. He said, be a better version of yourself tomorrow, whatever. You come into training and be a better player than yesterday. So the man just wants to improve. I love it. He just, he's some man.
I think that's brilliant points. I mean, the thing is, we could all just gush about Ange for however long for the podcast, and you know what? We might. And I love the fact how wrong I was. I actually fucking love that aspect because I would never ever be too smug or too proud to say, well, it's because Rangers are doing what they always do, which I think there is an element of, by the way. That's just a fun topic. That's a fun topic of conversation, as opposed to the reality is we're on the brink of, 33 games unbeaten domestically.
That's crazy.
33. I feel it's almost went under the radar. That's you halfway to Rodgers' record.
That's true. Was it 69 games roughly?
16 games, mate. You're nearly at the halfway point of that run. And where are you seeing Celtic losing next? Ange comes out today and he says, if anyone's getting carried away or anyone's getting complacent, they'll be left behind. They'll be left behind, Connan. Connan, it's just so clever. It's a shot over the bow to the players, reminding them of their responsibility right now, reminding them they've achieved F all bar a League Cup so far. Nothing. You've achieved nothing while you're 6 points behind, 6 points ahead. It's the same way he reacted when we lost 3 games out of the first 6. I remember in October he says, strange lot, you lot. Strange lot. He goes, I've never known a league title to be decided in September. Yeah. Remember he said that?
I remember him saying it as well. I was thinking about that today.
Jenky's very much of the vibe. I've never seen a league title decided in April when it's still mathematically possible for us not to win it. Exactly the same attitude he's got now, isn't it? He's the perfect guy, Connan, to be at the wheel right now to guide us over the line.
I totally agree. Because he's not going to let anyone get complacent. The second jar, you know what the door is essentially. It's like if anyone gets too far ahead of himself, whatever decides they're not going to bother as much or whatever, he'll be the first on their case. Nobody slacks at that club now. You can just tell everyone, if you don't give 100%, you're going to get dropped essentially. And it's good to have a big group of players now, like a bigger squad, considering we had, when was it, before the last game against St Johnstone, we had a few COVID cases, we had Barkas and goals and this, that and the next thing. It was like,
don't forget that.
Just on it players to get into the team, brings in his boys in January, and then we just, once we've got a fully fit squad, we look brilliant, and everyone's fighting for their place. You've got 2 players in every position now, which we didn't have at the start of the season, that's for sure. So you've even got Julian that can come back in, give Starfelt whoever a run for the money. Midfield is just endless names. You've got O'Reilly, who doesn't start every week. Ideguchi, I want to see more of him, to be honest. He's my kind of midfielder, just does the dirty work, gets stuck in, happy to play football as well.
You
can play both sides of the game. From what we've only seen little of him, but what I've seen, I've liked him a lot. And even striker, at the top end of the park, you've got Giacomakis, Kyogo, Maeda can play through the middle as well. So you've got all these boys fighting for that spot. That's good
quality,
to see.
I think Connors
it's good to have that fully fit team for the end of the season. So the last few weeks, the only player we've got out just now is Forrest, I think. So
it's only Forrest. The only injury, the whole squad. Only one. Now, I think it's very interesting you bring up front. I have my theory on it. Chaos Giacomakis, and he is chaos, right?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Full I call him Georgios. I'm tempted to phone in like Super Scoreboard one night. Do you know what I mean? It's me, Bhoycie. I know you don't know who I am, but that guy Chaos Giacomakis, and get that name ringing around the country because he is chaos. He asks more questions of defenders than you'll ever see in your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm happy to have that kind of bigger guy up top again, like somebody that can hold the ball and just like annoys defenders. They hate it because it gets fouled all the time as well.
He's the focal point of that team right now, mate.
Yeah,
he is the focal point of that team. Now, what's going to happen? Georgios wins Player of the Month. He slapped back at Ryan Jack. He didn't back down. He doubled down in his comments, didn't he? He did, though.
He did, 100%.
He basically said it wasn't really to upset anyone. You know, I think he was also taking the piss at good. I didn't really want to upset or disrespect you. I just said I believe my team was better. Why is he so upset? You could tell it's very clever. I thought Giacomakis spoke his mind. Now, you mentioned there a wee minute ago that Kyogo, Scott Cameron, Kyogo MasterCard. I had a bad moment last week when I was saying I was trying to say masterclass, and I described it as a MasterCard. Conan, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. It can happen on
People
live
never forget,
pods.
mate. People never forget.
Aye, and on live pods, this shit can happen. Now, I am very intrigued to see how Kyogo is utilised. I think the sensible option would be this weekend that Kyogo will be come on from the bench, right? I think that would be the sensible option, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what I thought. I thought he'd start with Giacomakis and bring Kyogo, and then he gets that applause and whatever else and just build his confidence again.
But do you believe, and I'm going to bring up Monty here, that Kyogo really is in competition with our Greek god? I don't.
Surely he's got to be in competition.
I think Kyogo was signed to play on the wing. I think Ange Postecoglou gave you an insight in August at Ibrox what he wants from Celtic. He wants his two pieces. He put Kyogo there and he wanted Edward to do the Giacomakis role, which, let's be honest, I checked out Edward, didn't give a shit. Lazy, cumbersome, didn't care, lackadaisical. No offence to Eddie, we got a lot of good memories of him, but by then he'd checked out, and Ange actually got that wrong because he should have read the room better. But I think we got an insight into what Ange is looking for in his team. Connan, Ange signs profiles of players, not just players available like Aaron Ramsey for the sake of it, like Diallo. Good players, and they are obviously, they've had great times in their career. Ramsey has had the longevity, he's had a good career. Juventus' highest paid player at one point. Diallo, £40 million he cost at one point in his career. We can't write that off. But they were just signing good players to put in the team because good players will work. Einstein's profile of players. I am convinced Giacomakis was signed to be the number one striker at Celtic. And the profile he wants on your left and right mirrors Liverpool a wee bit. I think there's a bit of that in it. He wants the pace, the work rate, the press. That, in my mind, will be Giacomakis as the focal point, Kyogo, Maeda, vice versa, whatever side you want. You can take your pick on that. And Jota, by the way, folk are going to go, oh, what about Jota? I'm not slagging Jota. It's called having options. Ange doesn't want just a first 11. He wants a first team squad. But if push came to shove and he had to pick his best 11, everyone's fit. I'm convinced that would be who his front three would be. The focal point up top, Kyogo, Maeda on the wings. So when we talk about Kyogo's impact coming back, I think it'll be massive. But I've got a feeling we might all be a bit surprised that the direct competition for Giakoumakis' spot might not be the Kyogo. I think it might be another striker in the summer.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, you playing, imagine the press having Maeda and Kyogo in the wing. But I just feel like Kyogo's much better through the front. I think he is competition for Giakoumakis. Granted, they're completely different players. So I feel like your Giakoumakis is good for certain games. I don't know, we used to struggle. We struggled away from home at Livingston. Those kind of games. I feel like he's the type of guy that can bully defenders, take the ball in when you need it. But Kyogo, those runs that he makes is just different class. Like, people, like, as long as somebody spots like he's away before people know it, sometimes like his own teammates aren't quick enough to spot his runs and stuff. But I see how that would work.
Do you think Kyogo was signed as a striker, Connan?
Yeah, I think it was. I see they did try and play him in the wing, but
I don't.
Nah.
The biggest game, and I love this, by the way. This is why you're on the show, Connan. This is why. Because it's not about happy clapping. It's not about agreeing. My take is Angie's biggest game in August was Ibrox. And he played Kyogo where he thought he was best suited. And he wanted it to be Giakoumakis to be that lead striker signed yet. But that would have been his idea, because Ange plans miles ahead. Giakoumakis was on the radar the second Ange took over. But he thought Edward could do that job. That was the style he wanted. I think Kyogo became our lead striker by default, that no one was fit, no one could do it. And then, in a good way, has now given another headache because he's done it so effectively. But I can't think of a time when you look back at Kyogo's career, he's ever played as a number 9. And Ange knows that market inside out. I also go back to, we signed Holland's top scorer, who was meant to cost 12 million for 2.6 because his team was relegated.
I can't believe that. He finished top goal scorer and his team still got relegated. That's impressive. When we brought him in, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ.
That relegation release clause, Connan, was massive, because it almost made us easier for us to question Giakoumakis, whereas had we actually tried to sign him and VVV had stayed up, 12 million, mate. 12 million pound striker we got for 2. That was his release clause. 2.6.
That's a brilliant bit of business there.
I think Gigi has proven in the second half of this season exactly where Ange wants to take his game. My vibe is, though, Kyogo's comeback, and I want your opinion on Kyogo. What impact he had in the first half of the season, and would we be in this position if it weren't for him? Secondly, where you see him playing going forward, and how much of an impact can he make in both domestic competitions between now and the end of the season?
I do think largely the reason we are where we are is because of his performance at the start of the season. Like, he was scoring goals for fun. That League Cup final, he wasn't even fit, and he still scored twice. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have won that game, essentially. So there's no doubt the impact he had at the start of the season. And then, what was your second point?
So, obviously, we've got the impact that he can still have between now and then. Don't ask me to remind me, that's what I've just said. I know. Fucking been on the Guinness all night. You want me?
I should just shoot shit.
I made 3 questions, mate. I don't remember the 3 seconds.
That's too much for my wee brain. What are you on about? One at a time.
Sorry, mate. I was on a roll. So let's say, what impact can he have between now and the end of the season in the domestic competitions, and what position do you see him featuring those in? You bastard.
I'd like to see him play through him. I think he's better there. Like, he played on the wing, maybe I think it was only maybe 2 or 3 times, so you can't judge him on that essentially. But like, I think the second Edward came off in that first Old Firm and Kyogo went to the middle, he had 2 or 3 chances. There was one he should have squared it to Christie, then one he should have went himself, tried to square it to Christie, and there was like another few times he ran in on goal. So for me, he plays in the middle, and I think he can still have an impact in the end of the season. But it's hard to drop Giakoumakis if he is going to play up top. So that's where your point comes in. Maybe he will play in the wing, but then you've got Abada, Jota, Maeda to compete with. So
what about this, though? What about this? Kevin 14, Connan. I'll let you reply to this. That's interesting, because Jota is good enough to play in the slippers role. Not that I want Tom Rogic ever not play for Celtic, but these options are important. Could Jota play in that number 10 role? I think he could.
Oh, of course he could. I reckon Kyogo could play in it as well, but
you think of the press?
That's a good question. That's
it's
good.
a good point, that, eh? Aye. And these are the headaches you want.
Yeah. I feel bad for Ange. She's got to actually decide all this. So, because then you have to drop Rogic and probably O'Reilly. What was that, sorry?
This is what he wants. These are the headaches Ange Postecoglou demanded when he first took over. Exactly. Ange Postecoglou picks first-team squads, not first-team 11s, mate. That's what he does. I genuinely think the press from the wings, I think Maeda is the profile Ange Postecoglou is looking for in his team.
Mm-hmm.
I am convinced Kyogo is the profile that Ange Postecoglou is looking for. And I am convinced he wants a number 9, a centre forward as a focal point. The thing is with Giakoumakis, let's focus on him for a wee bit, Connan, because how good did you think he played on Sunday? And I'm going to tie this in with, if we were in Europe, or when we're in Europe next season, potentially obviously Champions League, albeit Villarreal, fuck that all up for us. How important could he be in Europe as a completely different dimension he gives Celtic? Because I think we may have missed a huge part of Ange's vibe in Europe. I think Giakoumakis is going to be a huge asset in Europe. He gives a million different problems. I thought we seen another side to not just Celtic on Sunday, but also Georgios Giakoumakis, Chaos Giakoumakis, if you will. And it worked.
Yeah, like, he's definitely had better games, but he did what he needed to do in the Glasgow derby, nearly slipped up there. But I feel like in Europe...
You get trouble for that shit.
I know, Jesus. It's all the signs in the Ibrox. I nearly got confused there.
This is the old
firm. I know, fuck off. But in Europe, teams are going to come at you more. Like, they're not going to sit in like teams in the league do. So, I've just seen that comment, Scott. I'll get my idea.
Mate, you've got to love it. You've got to love it, Connan, mate. This is the pattern, mate. This is the pattern.
Nah, my mum bought me it yesterday, it's alright. But I think it's in Europe. I think Giakoumakis, he's going to be good in certain games. Like, teams will come at you more. So that's where Kyogo will probably have more space going to the middle. So that's where you could play him to the front in European games as well. But because Ange is never going to play two up top, is he? Like, or very rarely.
I don't see that. I don't see him playing two up top. I agree with you on that.
So, and I agree. You can't drop Rogic or Giakoumakis just now, Ian.
It's tough.
It's just so many headaches, eh? So, but the good thing, as you said.
But Connan, let's rewind.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rewind. These headaches were not there before January. And yet, see in January, yes, we signed 4 players, 3 for the J League and O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
1 for the J League. 1 for the J League's not even featured. Since they all arrived, Kyogo's not featured. How come it feels we've got so many options now?
I suppose a few players coming back from injury as well, but even then, it's just he's brought on players. Like, think about Tony Ralston.
Postecoglou, mate.
I know.
It is 100%. These other options have become so much more viable because of the development and the improvement he has managed to implement on them. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like if he talks to you, you feel 10 feet tall. So every player, like, they just want to impress him. Like, as I said in there, Anthony Ralston kind of looked like his career was going absolutely nowhere at Celtic. I thought he was going to get loaned out again, but didn't have any options. So he comes into the team. But Ange obviously believes in him. He said, look, I think you can play here. I think you can be a Celtic starting 11 player. And he proved that. He came on leaps and bounds, especially start of the season. He kind of, once Juranovic came in and started to settle, I'm just seeing these comments, oh, no.
They're brilliant, mate. You've got to love it, mate. You've got to love it.
Once Juranovic came in and he kind of, he wasn't always starting, kind of, I think it hindered his confidence a little bit. But when he does play, when he's been playing again, then he came on, he looked relatively solid, snapped Kent, which is always good. And I think Greg Taylor's another one that's came on a lot since Andrew's been there.
100%. I think
he gets slated all the time, but I think Greg Taylor, I think he's a good left back, like solid. He's hardly put a foot wrong since the second half of the season. The games against Rangers, he's been outstanding in my opinion.
Greg Taylor very much lives in the shadow of Kieran Tierney.
Aye, and
there's no getting away from that.
Can you?
But there is similarities in terms of their profile, physique, the fact they're both Scottish, same position. But the unfair part is comparing them to arguably right now top 3 left backs in the world. That's what he's been compared to. And the fact is that top 3 left back in the world played for us for years. And it's not because you're trying to be anti-Greg Taylor, but the Kieran Tierney glasses are very much on. And I include myself in that, by the way. I'm not immune to that. You just expect so much because of the level Tierney took that position to. And Greg Taylor has done nothing particularly wrong in his time at Celtic. But what we have noticed is a marked improvement as well. I think he has came on leaps and bounds. I don't think he's... I genuinely think it's the position Celtic first and foremost need to strengthen in the summer still. For me, you can't hang your hat on a Greg Taylor being first choice if you want to compete at Champions League. Not saying he can't become the first choice, because you've seen the improvement in Ralston when a better profile player came in. And Ralston now pushes a 26-year-old Croatian international. And Ralston now divides opinion on who should be at right back. That's a credit to Ralston. I think Taylor would be the very, very similar if we were to strengthen that area with a player with the international experience of, a Juranovic at right back. Imagine the equivalent of that coming at left back. Jink with, Taylor's signed a new deal under Postecoglou as well. Jink, there's any other players at Celtic that, or any other positions, I should say, that might benefit actually the existing players there if Postecoglou was to strengthen them?
Good question. I think another goalkeeper, in my opinion, you think you agree?
No, you are miles on the money, mate.
Because
miles on the money.
When we look at our bench, you think Bain's not up to standards, and Andrew also thinks that as well, because he never really, even in cup games, he wasn't really playing. Hart's just been there the full time, keeps his place week in, week out, and then fucking Barkas. Don't know how he wasn't playing January there. Don't know what's happened. And then there's another.
He's not competing, is he? It's not like there's no point Barkas is pushing Joe Hart for the jersey now. I think Angel thanked Joe Hart come the summer for everything he's done, everything he's brought the team and go. But there's another challenge awaiting you, Joe. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be how I now bring in. This might maybe cost 4 or 5 million. That's not to take anything away from Hart. Hart will be better for being pushed.
Yeah,
Joe Hart,
exactly. That's the point.
You have to keep evolving. You can't just go, well, Joe Hart's got that position nailed. That's that sorted. I'm sorry, but if Joe Hart's injured, we all panic between now and the end of the season. Joe Hart breaks, slices his hand on that glass at Ibrox. Right? We still win that game. 6 points to go. 6 games to play. But no Joe Hart. It's Barkas now in goals. How do you feel, Connan?
It puts into perspective, because then you're thinking, Jesus Christ, that's like he's not just like he's not just a presence on the park, but off it as well. Like everyone said how much of a leader he is. He's came in, he keeps everyone ticking over. He sorts everyone out. Like I heard him it was like the Wraith Rovers game, a Sunday a few weeks back, and it was a quiet game. Fucking, I always had anyone there, and you could hear him roaring the full game. Like he never lets anyone like take their mind off anything. Like everyone's focused from the first minute to the last. Mm-hmm. He keeps everyone in check. But I think the question is, who would you bring in as a backup keeper or somebody to challenge him for his spot?
Well, everyone's talking about Siegrist Dundee United just now. I mean, I get that. I get that because it's someone who's not needing to adapt to the league. But we've seen this before. I was on a Del Boys pod on Wednesday night. Good lad, top lad. And I was saying, like, remember David Marshall was expected to be Celtic's number one for the next decade. David Marshall was unbelievable at the beginning of his career. Yes, he conceded 5 against Armita Bratislava, but that was just a freak game. But Strachan replaced him with a complete unknown, on loan unknown, in Arthur Boric, and within 3 months signed him permanently for 500 grand.
Aye, now, one of my favourite players as well at Celtic.
He was an incredible goalkeeper.
He was just unreal.
You could have fathomed. See, then it didn't sit well with me. Who's this random guy we're replacing David Marshall with? I didn't like it. I felt David Marshall had more than earned these Spurs. I was like, 5-0 Armita. And I know we played Motherwell the next game. I think we won 4-3. It was 4-0. So. It was a crazy game. Aye. Right, but so it was 8 goals or whatever it was in 2 games. But David Marshall had credit in the bank, and he was one of our own. And I just thought, the fact Strachan was that ruthless, that's why he got Celtic to last 16 Champions League twice. And he sent him
exactly.
He didn't. Sorry, go on. No, please, you go on, mate.
No, that's just the point about Strachan. And Strachan never had a team of absolute world beaters. He had some great players in his sides like Nakamura and whatnot, but he never had world beaters. He had like Gary Caldwell, McManus at the back, but they were boys that would give everything and were solid on their day. Like they'd never straight away from a challenge or anything like that. Just boys that gave everything. Like Barry Robson, essentially, him and Hartley dragged us through that 07-08 campaign. Like the second half of it, Robson came in, was outstanding. So he obviously gets the best out of his teams, and that's why we did go further in Europe. Like round the 16, we took AC Milan to the death.
Exactly.
And then we played Barcelona as well. Was it 07-08? We played them, lost 3 at home. I can't really mind.
I like Mark Brown. Nice to have you on the bus, Alistair, mate, you cheeky bastard. But I think the thing was, Strachan, like we're talking about Ange right now, was in a position of strength in that position, but yet still wanted to go to the next level. And whoever tipped him off about Boric, fair play. I can't imagine Strachan beat him any Legia Warsaw games. But someone has went, he's better than David Marshall. Now, to me, when Strachan took over, he had a million problems in that team to sort out because it was an aging side. It was a side that Celtic wanted to downsize in wages, etc. And the goalkeeper, you're going, look, he's on a modest wage, brought up for the academy. Fans love him because he's now already a legend because of the new camp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Strachan's still going, no, but I've got someone better. Bring him in. I think Ange will be very similar this summer when it comes to Joe Hart. Not because Joe Hart won't be Celtic's number one next season. I'm not saying it like that. But I think you're absolutely right. The left-back position, Craig Taylor's came on leaps and bounds and will be pushed further with a Postecoglou signing. Not a Liam Scales, a Postecoglou signing in the summer.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, there is no way Ange can afford to have any position, even including goalie, guaranteed picked every week, which not through any fault of Joe Hart's, is just the way it is. He knows he's playing, mate, every game. That's not healthy. We need them competing, fighting for positions. That's how you improve players. Even if you're in the later years of your career, you still need that push. You cannot be guaranteed, and I think it'll annoy Postecoglou right now almost that Joe Hart knows he's in that team. Yeah. No one else knows they're a guaranteed pick, but that bastard knows he's picked. I think you're so clever to bring up. They're the 2 positions I think Celtic need to strengthen. The third one, striker. Chaos will be pushed.
If you're saying Kyogo's getting pushed on the line, then of course you do need another striker. So,
I think there'll be another number 9 that will come in. Now, we need to talk about current affairs as well. By the way, we're pushing an hour already. I hope you're not in a rush, Connan. Oh, we've got more cans.
That's no skill night.
We've only got 1 can of Stella.
It's a Friday night. I can stay up an hour later. So good.
Believe it or not, once upon a time, mate, I used to have a baby face as well like that when I was your age. Believe me. I used to get the strip took me and all. Mate, it actually does you all right when you get older. Trust me. Getting to 36. I'm 35 this year, mate. You know what I mean? I think I'm still doing all right. Maybe not.
Hey,
David Desmond. does a rare interview, he makes a cheeky dig at our rival. Do you think that funny? Is it something Desmond shouldn't get involved in? Where the fuck was this interview last season is the question I want to ask you, Conan.
That it only seems to come out when we're on top, you know what I mean? That the only time they make statements is when we're doing well, but I find it funny. For personally, I think it's quite a funny comment, but he's part of the blame from last season, you know what I mean? So he's a bit bold coming out and just like saying, I didn't actually read much of it, but I saw that comment and that was about it.
I'm not having it, mate.
You're not happy
okay.
with it?
Well, let's strip it down. The fact he does the interview. Let's go back to basics here. Why is Desmond suddenly doing a face-to-face camera exclusive Celtic TV interview now? 5 days after we beat Rangers on their own patch. Once we look like the cushions there. Where was he last season?
Absolutely nowhere to be seen, was he? But now that it's scored for beating Rangers, we're in a good place, everyone's happy, everyone's buzzing. We just, he's doing his interview, that's fine, we'll just forget about that. You know, nobody's actually going to pull him up for anything that's happened in the past. But, you know, luckily, people like you are.
But I think it's unacceptable. I'll tell you why. I hate condescendence. In any way, any part of my life, I hate folk who patronise me or condescend me and think they're better than me or think I'll fall for bullshit, right? I like to rate myself as pretty perceptive. And that's because I had a good apprenticeship owning a pub in my 20s, right? You start being able to cut bullshit quite, not because I was blessed with this as some sort of skill, but you find out quick. You have to be able to when you're young. And abusers can be quite toxic at times. It can be quite heated. And folk can come in, talk shite. You can cut through bullshit. You learn. It's a skill you learn.
Aye, definitely.
Damn it, Desmond is trying to pull the wool over fans' eyes. I felt condescended today. I also felt patronised when he has the audacity to think he's happy clapping the liquidation stuff.
That's true.
Fuck you. I think that is so, they're stupid. Hey, they got liquidated. We've not. Tapping us on the head like, oh, we love that. We've called them liquidated and not in administration. I think Celtic fans have, with the knowledge you've now got on the World Wide Web, social media, everyone knows every nook and cranny about everything these days. Desmond, shut up. Stop trying to patronise us. Stop it. It's embarrassing. This is a club, Celtic, that didn't vote for Rangers not to be in that league on a new entity. So what is he talking about now? Why are you acting like punching scores that? Where were you last year when every fan wanted to know the direction of this football club? And he's now the first name. He could not wait to get the moustache tweaked and get out there. And by the way, I'm happy to say all this shit, by the way, because I've never tried to be Celtic's bitch. And I know a lot of the fan media are scared to tell the truth because they're worried they don't get the wee press conference passes. And hopefully maybe they're not. Maybe that's my perception that's wrong. Maybe it is. But the way I see it is I look at this and I go, no. You think you're playing to a gallery, but you're underestimating the intelligence and the know-how of that gallery. I find that really unpalatable. The whole liquidated stuff I find embarrassing. Secondly, the timing of this interview after we beat Rangers, it's embarrassing. Where were you last year? Where were you? 105 days there was banners outside that ground with people who cared. Where were you then?
I know. It seems like so long ago that now, doesn't it? Like just because it's happened ever since. So people are easy to forget. But I completely agree with that. Like, where was he last season when we needed a bit of information? When there was just nothing. They all hid. Nobody wanted to say a word. And then now it's like a cheap shot. He's like thought, I've got my chance here to try and make people laugh, just pretend everyone's fine, like nothing else happened last season. I didn't disappear or whatever. When in fact, luckily people are actually like thinking, no, where the fuck were you? Like, don't try and take a cheap shot. It's almost like the Ryan Porteous interview. It was like, do you see me happy?
Yeah.
Like, it's got that kind of vibe to it almost. And then you see what
And I
happened
love
there as
this.
well.
StuTube comes in. StuTube, love having you on the bus as always, mate, by the way. But I'm going to have to pick apart your comment. The interview, according to StuTube, was recorded on the 27th of March. Again, I've never mentioned when the interview was recorded. What I've mentioned is...
I never even watched it. I never watched it.
All I've ever mentioned is when it was released. It was released 5 days after Celtic's win at Ibrox. Brush through it, mate. It's simple business stuff. It's like when Rangers used to release their accounts at like 10 p.m. on a Friday night before a big game on the Saturday, right? He is so transparent in what he's doing, StuTube. Don't think because it was recorded the 27th. It is all released because we won that game. Who's to say he does release it if we didn't win on Sunday? You don't know the answer to that, and neither do I. I've got an inclination what I think on that. What I want as well is honesty. Now, maybe I'm wrong. But the word round the campfire and the ITK stuff, which don't get me wrong, haven't left that lot. I question a lot of the stuff that the wee fella told me at times, you know. This is the guy that told me Shevchenko was taking over for Postecoglou at one point. Right? That's a clue. But according to their sources, Neil Lennon in October, they wanted out. October of that season. So for Dermot Desmond to say it was all about keeping him and giving him the benefit of the doubt, don't quite think that's the truth. There was just literally no option to replace Neil Lennon in the October Connan. That's what I've been told anyway. Monty's coming and slagging or criticising your can drinking speed. Monty, the guy's doing a podcast for the first time in his life and he's having a beer on stage. Just because you had 3 back then, who cares, mate? I tell you what, Monty, get your ass on the Double Doon Show because I would love you on it. I like your input. Let's get you on and let's see how many cans of beer you drink during the hour-long show.
This gets running. Yeah, I can. That's the only reason I'm just drinking it slow.
Don't you worry about it, mate. Don't you worry about it.
I know.
So you and Boy comes up with a completely different point, but we'll do it. Let's talk about the TV 18 Rangers games so far. I bet you get the H word too. Then you get that off the screens. But I think the coverage this year hasn't been great. But what I'm going to go to now, Colin, is why should Sky continue to constantly pander and abide Scottish football when the real reason they buy the rights, right, is for those 4 games this season. Agreed?
Yeah, of course.
So say when you get scenes like Sunday, you go try and push that to the guy who's got the budget. You know, the guy who's got the briefcase with the budget in it for the next rights for Scottish football. You show him that footage. You show him the glass bottles, mate. You show him half times getting delayed by 5-10 minutes. You show him fans trying to get on the pitch. You show physios with a stitch in the back of the head. And then you go, sell me it. They actually want, they think they should get 30% more money than what they currently do. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. It's not business. It's not good business. They'll take what they get as long as that shit carries on.
This guy's been brutal at covering Scottish football for years as well. The fact that Chris Boyd's still got a bloody job on Sky Sports with him is just the absolute nonsense that you hear out of his mouth. You just get sick of him. But even the other day, it was like Son of was watching, you know, that kind of ref watch thing they do on Sky. So they'll cover all the games that have been on that weekend and go through, analyse penalties, this, that, and the next thing. So they got to Scottish football in the Old Firm, that they called it, and they said, they're like, right, we'll discuss this. And they discussed, what was it? It was the potential handball from Carter Vickers, which got dismissed like within a second. And then the other one was, it was the Lundstrom tackle. And that was it. They didn't go into the Maida pen. It didn't go into detail on anything else that had happened. It was just that. And then onto the Premier League. That's what they care about. So Scottish football gets this little bit of coverage. Like obviously we we just focus on Celtic. We think, world revolves around us sometimes, but these other teams in the SPL as well, they get nothing. They're never seeing the team on Sky Sports and stuff like that.
But they still get their equation of the pot. They still get their share of the pot. It's very interesting though, because the narrative is very much BT Sport cared about Scottish football. Did they? The coverage was good. You did, eh? Do you want to know an interesting fact about BT Sport?
What's that?
BT Sport bid less than what they... Because remember, it used to be split between the two channels. I think BT Sport had 40%, Sky Sports had 60%. All the Glasgow derbies were on Sky Sports, but BT Sport had 50%. BT Sports bid, this was about 18 months ago, was less than what they'd bid for the half package they had before. For the full package. I know this for a fact.
For the full one.
So don't think they valued it that highly.
Nah, definitely not.
So that's what that argument there, Paul Gilson, BT Sport didn't stump up. Yes, BT Sport gave their all. I thought the production was fantastic. I really do. I thought the debate was lively. But BT Sport became the crunch.
Seemed a bit more real, if you like,
It was actually refreshing.
Aye.
But they bid less than what they had for the deal they were already on, which was only a X percentage, 50, 60%, 40, 50%, of the deal. They actually bid less than that for the full thing. So that's what fucked it. Because we all would have rather that. Sky, see, to be fair, bid more than what they had to win that deal. I am sorry. We can keep crying about it. We can keep moaning about it. But when that's your spectacle, and guys unqualified to talk about assaults on coaches, bottles on the ground, like Ian Crocker and Andy Walker, that spectacle becomes fucked. And we all have to take a step back and go, that's why it's toxic. That's why the Austrian league gets 5 million more a year. That's why the Swedish league, which you think's got no rival in it because we're ignorant to it all, gets more money a year. That's why the Dutch league gets like treble the money a year. Because we cannot even, the showpiece game that only happens 4 times a year, keep that contained. We can't even have 2 broadcasters competing at the same level because it's that toxic. So for it to get real with that one, and do you know what? Everyone can laugh at Sky Sports coverage. I agree. I think it's shit. I think Chris Boyd's the biggest walloper in the world. I mean, I would love to sit him down on the Bhoycie bus. It would be fun to play with his wee brain. You know what I mean? It would be like he's just got a Play-Doh brain. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, you get what you're given. No Scottish football fan should feel. And by the way, Barry Mackay was sitting with a fruit shoot bottle or whatever it was only 2 months ago as well at Celtic Park. So we can all cry wolf. I'm not doing any of that shite either. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Anyway, we've been chatting for ages. It's time to do the quiz, mate. I think we've spoken enough. You want to do the quiz?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
Now, as I always say, fanboyfootball.com, they are providing our T-shirts right now, which are flying off the shelves. I'm absolutely buzzing, by the way, with how many folk have bought them. I've put the link in again in the comments. I really, really hope that if you have bought one, you enjoy it. I want photos of it. We will do competitions in the next month or so. I just need to get it self-sustainable first. As you know, I'm on a very limited budget with everything I do. But luckily, we have another sponsor who don't pay us anything, sadly, Connan. But it's Microsoft and it's their stopwatch on Windows.
That's the whole Bill Gates thing.
The last time the Double Doon quiz was done, it was done in 1 minute 33 seconds. Now, do you know the rules of the quiz? Do you want me to go through them? I'll go through them for all our new viewers because there's over 100 watching live. The new Quarter 11
impressive.
Friday night Double Doon Show. If you ever try and doubt, this show will be busy on a Friday night. You're kidding yourself on. And the other lot can do quizzes. I mean, do you know what? I think Magnussen's got more charisma than the host of the other one at 6 o'clock on a Friday, you know what I mean? Or whatever they're calling it. Oh my God, he had a glass of wine. We're so edgy. Honestly, just peace. Yeah, bunch of dicks. Defamation. Right. What we'll do is the Double Doon quiz. You've got 3 lifelines, Conan.
Mm-hmm.
Double Doon. You need to call it before the question is read.
Okay.
You decide whatever question it is. Now remember, with each question, it's 5 points for the first, 10 points for the second question. They get harder as they go. So if you Double Doon, the later on, the more points you get, etc. But you could be Double Dooning on a far harder question. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how it works. You can back Doon, which is just a quick pass, because time comes into it. And the quicker you finish the quiz, the more points you get. If you finish it under a minute, it's 50 points. Between 1 and 2 minutes, 40 points. Between 2 and 3, 20 points. The other lifeline is flip it. So, if you don't know the answer, rather than pass the show, you could go flip it. But you could flip on question 1, right? The flip it question could be of the difficulty level of question 6.
Right, okay.
It's random. The flip it question is of a random level of difficulty. But if you're in doubt, I would be using that before back Doon. To be honest, I just like to fit back Doon into the quiz and the lifelines.
Yeah.
Go back Doon, Double Doon. Is this sounding
Doon.
good? And flip it was a catchphrase I used to always use. Flip the mindset, flip it. You know what I mean? 30 comments have come in, 32 comments. Daniel Mick, more chance of Neil. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. I don't think it. Do you think it's that difficult a concept?
Nah,
Just
I think I've
answer
got it. I'm a pretty thick person. I think I've got it.
You're not thick, son. Me and you have been on a couple of nights out. We're going to watch the Celtic, in fact, to get a few nights out after. We've had good banter with the football. You're no daft, son. Trust me on that. Right. Time to rock and roll, though. Oh, shit. I'm starting up Championship Manager again. That's for another show. Where is this fucker? What is happening?
Cheers, Paul.
Right. Wait through. Where's my clock? There she is. Right, share the screen, share the clock. Sponsored by Windows. Bill Gates sponsoring the Bhoycie bus. You've never seen anything like it in your life. Can we see that okay?
Yeah, it's just come up now, yeah.
Ready to rock and roll, son?
Let's go.
Connan Clark, it's time to not back down, but to double down.
Double Doon. Let's go.
Question 1, who scored Celtic's first goal
Tom
on
Rogic.
Sunday? Question number 2, name the player in the current Celtic squad with 37 caps for Israel.
Near Beaton.
Question 3, which
Tony
Celtic
Mowbray.
managers... Oh, fucking hell, he's not letting me know. Question 4, who scored for Celtic in the first leg of the UEFA Cup tie versus Villarreal, which we eventually were knocked out of?
I don't even know what year. Henrik Larsson.
Question number 5, what shirt number did Steve Guppy wear for Celtic?
Oh, fucking hell. Flip it.
Oh! What squad number did Martin O'Neill wear in his Celtic training jersey on the touchline?
0.
Question number 6. Celtic lost the League Cup final in 2011, 2 goals to 1. Who scored for us?
Was it Gary Hooper? Oh, shit.
Stop the bars.
Can't
Stop
double
the
down.
bars. You never double down, mate.
I know,
I can't
fucked
keep
it.
telling folk to double down, mate.
I
I
know.
can't. Because it's just, it's going to take away from it. So I'm sorry you never double down. What a start you made, young man. Do you know how good that was? And you fucked it at the end. I'm disappointed. You could have won that whole thing. I think you could have won the whole thing. See, when I go through these, the Steve Guppy one, don't worry about that.
I feel like he's
You
number
did the right
20. I
thing.
don't say that now, that's
It's
stupid.
30. It's 30.
30. Fuck.
3-0. You're not even far off. We'll go through them. And we'll take the wee clock away. Because you got it between 1 and 2 minutes. That's 40 points anyway. Right? Stop screen. There we go. Right. Who scored Celtic's first goal on Sunday? Tom Rogic. 5 points. So you then get to question 2. Name the current player. 37 casters. You're near Beaton. Easy peasy. You're up to 15 points. Which Celtic manager signed Marc-Antoine Fortuny? That's the first time I've been allowed to complete that question, because I think I got to which Celtic and you jumped in with the answer. This is when I was thinking, he has seriously got this in the bag. That's you up to 35 points, mate. This one you toiled a wee bit. You debated it. You doubted yourself. But then you got it right. Oh. And it was Henrik Larsson. So that's you up to 65 now, mate. And I'm thinking, he's not doubled down yet. It just goes out your mind, eh? I know.
I fucked it, I know.
What shirt number did Steve Guppy wear? You flipped it. Steve Guppy wore number 30. You thought number 20 deep in your heart. That was the one that was deep in your heart, deep in your mind. That's what was coming out. We flipped it. Martin O'Neill was 31. Do you remember he used to always have 31 there?
My mind's always been track. I couldn't remember what number. That's a good question.
It is a tricky one, that. It was a tricky one. It was, but as I say, flip it's always going to be. It can be difficult sometimes. I swear some of the flip it questions I've had, by the way, I've been doddles, mate. It was unlucky this week. Celtic lost the league. It was Joe Ledley, mate.
Oh shit! Was that against the Huns as well? Against the Rangers. I should remember that.
Didn't get me bad there. But no, you're right. I thought you did well. Folk are flying and saying you did well. Well done, young
Appreciate
man.
It.
I don't believe that stopwatch was correct. It's rigged. As long as it's between 1 and 2 minutes, Daniel, come on. For fuck's sake. Grab defeat from the jaws of victory, says Kevin. I agree with that. We got 40, 45, 55. Let's see, 55. 75, 105, mate. I've got a feeling that's the same Jonathan got.
Is it?
And that's your mate.
He said he set the bar low,
brother. Well, you were on a roll there, though. Like,
gutted.
I'm gutted for you as legends. And
I gutted through me. I didn't think 20, but I'm still off it with that one.
Do you know the disclaimer? It was CMO 102 Legends who sent me the quiz for the squad number. It's his favourite bit about the quiz because he's a Spurs fan. He's just based on his page as Championship Manager content, right? He's got like 20,000 followers, by the way. And he's actually turned into a great mate of mine. And he says, what's the squad number for this week? And I was like, I've not actually thought of it. He goes, Steve Guppy. Even I don't know that off the top of my head. Number 30.
Watching the one the other week, then it was like Massimo Donati, and I'm screaming 18.
18, I know. I knew as well.
There's only one of them I didn't know, but that was good. Good questions there. I like that.
Is it fair to say as well, Feed the Bear saying well done, young man. See when Feed the Bear gives you kudos, you just take that, by the way, because he is the godfather of the chat.
I appreciate it.
John Tomlinson. He doesn't want to hear anyone say gutted after his effort. John, I don't know what John got, like -5 or something. I don't know what the fuck he got. Listen, Connan, this is the key bit now, because I need more people coming forward to come on the bus. I've got the next 4 or 5 weeks booked. Connan, has it been awesome?
Oh, it's been brilliant. Loved it.
Have you, honestly?
For the first time as well. For the first it's good. I really enjoyed it.
Because everyone comes on for the first time to come on the Bhoycie bus. They have to do the Double Doon Show. This is the apprenticeship.
I've loved it. I appreciate having me on as well. Cheers.
And you would recommend it then?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Look at all the comments flying. Everyone's loving you, mate. Everyone's loving you, son. Now, as I say, I hope that encourages more people to come on the Double Doon Show. Always remember on a Friday night, we don't back down. We Double Doon in the Bhoycie bus. Don't let the imposters fool you. Don't let them try and annoy you. Always remember, this is a bus that has went from 10 mile an hour, like Jose Mourinho used to say, a little calf that needed some milk, but now turned into a racehorse. And it's because of every fucking one of you bastards in there. I love this. I do this as a hobby. This is not a money-making exercise. This is because we needed a platform where everyone's voice counts the same as everyone else's. It was so lacking. Podcasters, as if they know more. Statements released on Twitter by podcasters to explain their views. I wait and run up my ribs. Nobody knows more about football than the average Celtic fan. Connan, sorry. You are... Sorry, mate, that's terrible. Connan, you are a proper Celtic fan. You've came on for the first ever podcast you've ever done. I spoke more sense than half of these idiots. I look forward to seeing everyone else who joins. Paul McFarlane suggesting he might come on. I would look forward to that. The Bhoycie bus is for everyone.
I suggested
this is not
brilliant.
You do
the
it.
Bus is
You
only getting
recommend
bigger,
it.
mate. The bus is only getting bigger.
I want everyone who feels that they could talk Celtic. The opportunity's there. It's not hard work. I want you on. I want it to happen. And Danielle's in the comments. I've not had my first female guest yet. We need one eventually. But in 4.5 months, I've watched people come on that have been nervous or never had the opportunity to do this sort of thing, and you watch them grow. And by the way, what always happens is once you've done this, you then get a wee chance to come on and do some post-match pish as well, which I'm sure a lot of people have enjoyed doing as well. Never think people talking in the camera because they've got a webcam and they've got some YouTube followers or whatever it may be makes them know anything more about football than you. That is the lesson that has to be learned because they fucking don't. Connan, what a legend you are, young man. Everyone in the comments, I love yous all. I am going to come back for the first time in over a month for Fan Cam Live tomorrow. I am doing the full game live. I've got a half day at work. I couldn't go to the game. I wanted to go with Regan to the game tomorrow, but I can't get through in time. So I'm going to do Fan Cam Live from my desk for the first time in so long. I'll be watching it, sharing the enjoyment, hopefully, with yous all. We will be doing that. There's a link back in the comments for the T-shirts. We'll do some post-match pish tomorrow as well. Connan, you'll be at the game, won't you?
Yeah, I'm going. Going to be a
No worries. Anyway, we'll play some Chris Sutton, some music. And remember, never be a fanny. Stick on the Bhoycie bus. Let's have it. I'll see you all later. Good night.
Comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now. And you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.